So this is our new session, session number 3, natural resource conservation. Natural resource is very important for us and we need to conserve them. Otherwise, in future, we might lose all of these natural resources. So conservation of resource means protection of resource is very important. And in this session we are going to learn how can we conserve our natural resources. So in this session we are going to study how we can save and conserve our natural environment. You already know and have read in earlier sessions too how important the natural environment is for all of us. You have also read how ignorant we all are towards our responsibility towards it. We all should be aware of how our actions are impacting the environment. In this session, we shall talk about how we can act responsibly to save and conserve our natural environment. First topic is saving and conserving natural environment. How can we save our natural environment and how can we conserve them? The environment affects us in all spheres of life. The way we live, the way we eat, the way we grow vegetables, fruits, grains, the way we consume and spend energy and so forth. We also affect the natural environment by our actions in all spheres of life. In the previous session we read how our actions impact the environment, how we are cutting forest and how it is impacting the environment. We are clearing land for making homes and how it is impacting the environment. However, if we start recognizing our responsibility towards environment, if we change our way, if we change our style and try to protect the environment, if we change our style of living, our way of living, right now our way of living is that we are just thinking about ourselves. We are not thinking about environment. If we start living with consideration of environment and start adopting the following measures that are given here, means if we try to reduce carbon footprint, if we try to conserve the soil, if we try to conserve the energy, if we go for 3R, reduce, reuse and recycle, if we try to conserve water, if we try to conserve our forest. So if we do these things, we can save and conserve our environment. The first topic is 3.2.1. The first topic was how can we reduce carbon footprint. So first of all, what is carbon footprint? Carbon footprint is the measure of carbon dioxide and other gases like methane, nitrous oxide and ozone, and all of these are generated as a result of our activities. So the measures of amount of carbon dioxide that is produced and other gases like methane, nitrous oxide and ozone as a result of our daily activities such as using car, using air conditioners, eating meat based diet and so forth is called carbon footprint, and carbon footprint is measured in tons. Even a small change our daily activities will have a major impact on the carbon footprint. So we can start with small things. We should not think about large or big things. We can take small steps towards decreasing the carbon footprint. Let us see what we should do to have minimum carbon footprint. First is electricity consumption. More we use electricity, more carbon footprint we produce. Thus, we should reduce the electricity used by the following measures. There can be some other measures also. There are some measures which are given. We can go for some other measures also. We can turn off lights and other electric appliances when we are not using them. We can replace traditional light bulbs and traditional lights with energy efficient LED light and using other alternatives. We can replace our old appliances with new energy efficient appliances. Those appliances which have 4-star rating or those appliances which have 5-star rating. Reduction in electricity consumption results in decrease in greenhouse gas. So if you try to reduce the consumption of electricity, then you can decrease the carbon footprint. You can upgrade your windows and you can upgrade your house insulation also, so that it consumes less energy. The more we go for the natural lighting, the less we use electricity. Opt for renewable energy resources whenever possible. If you are going for electricity, then you should go for solar energy. So try to go for solar energy alternatives rather than using electricity directly. Next is greener transportation. More use of transportation means more contribution to greenhouse effect. So if you want to reduce carbon footprint, if you want to reduce carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, so you should try to use these transportations as less as you can. Living without transportation is not possible, but efficient use of transportation is possible. So if we take some of these measures, then we can try to reduce the carbon footprint. First is find ways to use less transport. If going nearby, then you can try to walk on foot or use mechanical rickshaw or cycle wherever possible. Next thing is use green fuel in vehicles. Instead of using petrol or diesel, you can go for CNG. If possible, you can go for green alternatives instead of regular fuel, biofuel. Jatropha can be other example, such as solar charged battery vehicles is also one example. Or you can go for green fuels like biodiesel or Jatropha. Try reducing air travel if possible. Wherever possible, try traveling by train or buses than air travel, as airplanes emit more greenhouse gases than trains or buses. Reduce vehicle use. Use public transport in place of using own car, or use carpool. Carpool means suppose I have a car and I am just going to the office, so I can just ask my mates, those who are working with me, that they can also come with my car. Okay, so instead of one person, 4 people are using car, so they will not use their car. So this way we can reduce the carbon footprint. Next thing is eat local food, seasonal food and organic produce food. If we all start consuming local food, seasonal produce in the same area, less demand will result in the reduction of shipping and transportation. It will also reduce the greenhouse effect. Change your eating habits. More than 90% of the world consumes non-vegetarian diet, means meat. In India, nearly 70% of the population consumes non-vegetarian diets. However, do you know the meat producing sector is the biggest contributor to greenhouse gas emission? So if we can reduce the consumption of non-vegetarian diet, we can also reduce the carbon footprint. Just by consuming little less meat will reduce the greenhouse gas emission by a large extent. The red meat, that especially the beef, consumes around 11 times more water for its production and emits greenhouse gases 5 times more. So we can go for vegetarian diet. We can try to be vegetarian. Next is 3R, reduce, reuse and recycle. We can reduce consumption, we can reuse the previously used thing, or we can recycle the thing that we have used. For our daily life requirement, we consume lots of food and drinks, which also includes packaged food and drinks. All this packing material becomes worthless the moment we open the product and use it, and the result, all this goes into trash, in dustbin as waste. So do you know that India's 4 major metro cities produce nearly 1.7 ton of plastic garbage every day? Where does all this garbage go? Dump sites, filling sites. Have you ever thought about it? Our increasing landfills are the answer. There are very big landfills around Delhi, very big landfills around Mumbai. all this trash goes to our landfills, and also landfills are filling at alarming rates. So one news report was there that if we will use these landfills at this rate, then in future we will not be able to find landfills in Delhi. So what is the way to control this trash? How can we control this waste? How can we stop filling our land? Which if kept growing at these rates, we shall hardly be left with proper usable land, and the undecomposed trash would create even further problems for us. The solution is of this problem is 3R: reduce, reuse and recycle. Reduce is simple. Reduce principle says purchase the product with less packaging, or try to use products which are using less packaging, or try to buy those products which are having biodegradable packing material. So if you are having tea, you can go for a vessel that is made of mud or soil. Reuse. The reuse principle says use a product as much as you can use it healthily. Means you can reuse a water bottle as a planter for small plants, or old t-shirt can be transformed into a pajama or a tote bag. In short, try to avoid single use of items, rather creatively reuse them again and again. Recycle principle says take a used item and transform it in a different usable form. You can process little things like old newspaper, you can process plastic bags, you can recycle glasses, magazines, electronics, and then you can process them into new usable products. Next is soil conservation. Soil conservation is the process of preserving soil's fertility and preventing the soil erosion. Soil is very important because soil is providing you the available condition for production of wheat, rice, means for agriculture. The soil is the sole reason for vegetation on the earth. Fertile soil is full of nutrients and that help the plants and trees to grow. However, sometimes the soil degrades so much that it becomes infertile because of use of chemicals like insecticide and pesticide, because of increase of water supply that results in salinity, increase in salinity of the soil. There are many reasons behind soil degradation. Lack or contamination of soil nutrients and organic matter, compaction of soil, loss or change of oil structure, increase in salinity of the soil, acidity of the soil, and so many. Soil conservation is the process of preserving soil's fertility and preventing soil erosion. Some causes of soil erosion are being listed here. Land reuse, overuse. Repeated cultivation makes the soil infertile. It removes essential micronutrients from the soil that are very essential for plants, such as phosphorus, iron, nitrogen. So we have one method. We can go for crop rotation. Crop rotation means after planting one crop, we can go for leguminous crops, like we can go for pulses. It will increase the nitrogen content in the soil. Next problem is slash and burn farming. Slash and burn farming is a technique that is mostly used by those people living in forest. They usually either slash, means cut forest or cut trees, or burn the trees, and then they do farming. In this technique, a vast number of trees are cut from wild forested area and the residual vegetation is burnt. The ash produced this way makes the land temporarily fertile. Once used for agriculture, the land becomes barren again and then they abandon it, which then converts the land into a desert, or it will convert the land into a wasteland. Chemical contamination. Use of chemical fertilizers for better crop production is not beneficial. The plants use just a fraction of the fertilizer and the rest of the chemicals get deposited in the soil. Also, the use of pesticide kills beneficial organisms along with harmful insects. This spoils the healthy balance of soil nutrients. So how can we conserve the soil? Soil conservation techniques. There are many techniques that one can use and employ to improve soil sustainability. First is no-till farming or ploughing. Tilling is a traditional agricultural practice of soil preparation by mechanical agitation of various types, such as digging, stirring or overturning. Tilling disturbs the soil. In no-till farming technique, in no-till ploughing, the soil is farmed without a tilling process. This practice leaves the soil untouched and allows the last crop to decompose into the soil. So what do we actually do in no-till farming? We are not tilling, means we are not breaking the soil. Here you can see we basically plant any crop by breaking the soil using either plow or dagger or anything, and then we plant the seeds. In no-till farming technique, the soil is farmed without tilling, means without breaking the soil. This practice leaves the soil untouched, and in this practice the last crop that we usually plant is left there so that the crop decomposes into the soil. There are many benefits of no-till farming. It leads to increase in the number of beneficial organisms. It is a cost-effective technique. It helps in better retention of water in the ground because evaporation is decreased. Because we have plants, so it results in less evaporation. So water is there in the soil. Crop rotation. In this technique, rows of different crops are farmed in the same land and the rows are rotated every year. Suppose I have planted wheat. So after plantation of wheat, I will go for pulses. So this way pulses, these are leguminous crop, and this will result in the increased fertility of the soil. This technique offers these benefits: prevent the soil from being exhausted by one crop year after year, and it leads to accumulation of excess nutrients in the soil, and this helps prevent the accumulation of excess nutrients in one plant also. Terrace farming. In this type of farming, suppose if we are farming on a mountainous area, then we cut the slopes in the form of terrace. In this practice of cutting flat areas out of a hilly or mountainous landscape called steps, so we actually create steps. If we have the running water, then if the slope is slant, then the water will flow very fast. It will result in soil erosion. But if we make steps, then the speed of the water will get reduced, and this way we can reduce soil erosion. So we actually create steps which are then used for farming. So there is a barrier, always a mud wall barrier. Here at the corner we make one barrier, and this barrier stops the water and it results in less soil erosion. The barrier stops the soil runoff. It stops the soil from getting eroded. Instead, the runoff is utilized by lower levels of land and then resulting in preserving the nutrients in the soil and making it more fertile. Wind breaks. We can plant big trees so that it will result in less speed of wind. So these big trees will reduce the speed of the wind, and if we have reduced the speed of the wind, then it will prevent soil erosion by wind. The wind will not take away soil from the land. It will not blow soil from the land. Wind pressure is also one reason for soil erosion. So in this technique, the immense pressure of wind, means the speed of wind is broken by planting dense rows of trees, means multiple trees around the farmland. The benefit of this technique is soil erosion is much lesser because wind is not able to blow the soil away, and trees around the borders prevent erosion at borders. Next thing is earthworm. There are some species which are very beneficial for the soil, and hence agriculture, such as earthworms. Earthworms are very important for the soil. Earthworms have shown to increase yields by improving the soil health. Earthworms make burrows in the soil, enabling more water retention. So now the soil is able to retain or store more water than previous condition. It results in proper drainage also. So earthworms also help in increasing the fertility of the soil. Earthworms waste also acts as natural fertilizer. So we can follow these techniques of crop rotation, no-till farming, terrace farming, windbreaks and earthworms. Using earthworms, we can increase the fertility of the soil. Water conservation means conserving water. Water conservation is the practice of using water efficiently to reduce unnecessary water usage or water wastage. Water conservation is very important because fresh, clean water is a limited resource. We have water on at least 2/3 of the area of the earth, but this water is not available for use. Only fresh water is available for use. Most of these waters are in ocean or seas, and these are saline water. We cannot use them. So freshwater bodies like lake, rivers are limited. So although earth is covered with water, most of which is salty water in seas or oceans or in the form of ice. So common measures for water conservation. First, reduce evaporation losses. Try to reduce evaporation of water. So how can we do this? We can place horizontal barriers of asphalt below the soil surface in humid areas. In those areas where we have more evaporation, we can place asphalt below the soil surface. It will help in reduction of evaporation, means reduction of water getting evaporated from the soil. Reduce water loss in irrigation. When we provide water from outside for irrigation, then sometimes we provide more water than needed. So irrigation in the early morning or late evening will help to reduce the evaporation loss by 40%. So if you are going to water your plants, then you can go for watering or irrigation in the morning or in the evening, because we don't have the sunlight, and sunlight results in more evaporation. Also, growing hybrid crops also helps in conserving water. Reuse water. Use treated water for irrigation. Suppose in home we generate waste, water waste. Okay, so we have water from using drainage. This water goes to either river or any other area. We can use that water for irrigation purpose or for washing cars also. Prevent water wastage. So you can close the taps when not in use. You can stop and repair leaking pipes. This way you can also conserve water. Proper dispersal of sewage water. Your sewage water should be carefully disposed of so that it is not going to contaminate water resources, means it is not going to rivers or lakes. Energy conservation means conserving energy. Energy conservation means reducing the consumption of non-renewable resources as a source of energy. For example, coal, petrol, diesel. The term energy conservation broadly means to reduce the consumption of non-renewable resources. In other words, we can say energy conservation means enhancing the efficiency of energy consumption by preventing the wastage of energy. Modern world mostly depends on fossil fuels for its energy needs, like petrol, diesel, coal. These are fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are naturally formed non-renewable energy resources such as oil, coal, natural gas, petroleum. Fossil fuels are naturally formed like oil, coal, natural gas, petroleum. These are called fossil fuels. Technological developments and the ever increasing population of the world are causing the vast consumption of fossil fuel. And if not conserved, we shall not be left with energy resources, as these are non-renewable resources. So what we can do? Some methods and ways of energy conservation are: shift to alternative energy resources. We can shift to alternative sources like solar energy, wind energy. We can use energy smartly, changing the energy use practices with smarter use practices. This will also help in conservation of energy. We can practice these things like turn off light when not needed. We can replace old appliances with energy efficient appliances. We can replace light bulb with LED or CFL. We can minimize use of air conditioners and heaters whenever possible. We can turn off appliances like TV, computer when not in use. We can use public transport instead of using our personal transport. We can go for carpools other than using our personal car. Reduce waste production. We can try to reduce production of waste, and we can try to recycle those products which can be used again. Forest conservation. You know this already, that rapid growth of population and industrialization has increased the demand of habitable land, increased the demand of wood, increased the demand of timber, and this has resulted in the disappearance of our forest at very alarming rates. Forests are so crucial for our survival as they provide these ecosystem services. Recycling of CO2 into oxygen is done by forest. Climate regulation is done by forest. Reduction of carbon footprint is done by forest, means trees, and they also help in lessening natural hazards such as flood and many more. So how can we conserve forest? So for conservation of forest we have so many methods. Some of them we can use. Planting of more trees. People should be encouraged to plant more trees. If planting trees become associated with any personal celebration or achievements of people, like if you try to plant 10 trees on your birthday or plant 10 trees on every achievement, then you can reduce this deforestation. You can increase the forest cover. Regulated and planned cutting of trees. Timber and wood are always needed. The cutting of trees should be regulated and planned properly by the government, so that if you are cutting the trees, then you are replanting the trees also. In this way we will not disturb the ecological balance. Fire suppression technique. Destruction of forest is not only done by human reason, there are so many natural reasons also. For example, forest fire, it destroys a very large part of the forest. Government must have protected forest so that fire does not spread either because of human mistake or sometimes because of natural disaster. So for natural causes it must have fire suppressant measures in place, such as arrangement of water spray, fire retardant chemicals. Forest protection. The forest should be protected either by the use of chemical spray, antibiotics, or by disease resistant strains of trees, so that we can protect them from parasitic diseases. To protect the forest, government can build sanctuaries or national parks also. Forests can be used or developed as tourist centers such as national park or game sanctuary. This is a very good method of conservation of forest. Reforestation and afforestation. The forest area from where timber has been removed, or they have taken the wood, must be reforested. We need to plant the trees again. Similarly, if a fire or mining has damaged some forest area, it must be reforested. Also, new plantation should be done to create new forest also. What is reforestation? So replantation at a damaged or cleared forest area is called reforestation, and new plantation for creating new forest is called afforestation.